So moving away a little away from rule-based and very much coding-based automations to something which is more decision-oriented automations. So definitely that will add a lot of value.
Nippon, thanks for joining me. Gabby, I head up analytics and insights at Adapt. So it's a pleasure to be sitting down with you. Why don't we start a bit about your role at Komatsu?
Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure. And my role at Komatsu has grown. I've been with Komatsu for 10 years. At the current state, I am the Chief Data and AI Officer at Komatsu. It's a role which has been recently awarded. And I think it just talks about the fact that the senior leadership sees that there's a lot of importance and a lot of growing value that has to come from this space. So I was lucky to be in the right place at the right time.
Beautiful. And the theme of the day, why we've got all these executives today talking, is around zero copy and the AI Center of Excellence. Now, we were talking a bit before about AI Center of Excellence. What does that actually look like? And is this the sort of thing that you're investing in Komatsu? How will it look for your organization?
We have a data and AI center of excellence, but we are revisiting it. We are revisiting it from a regional perspective of Australia, New Zealand, New Caledonia, but also globally. This space is evolving at a very rapid pace. So we do see a lot of global engagement and interest because if you think about Komatsu globally, a lot of our data would be the same, a lot of our structures would be the same, machine technicians, customer support would pretty much be the same. So what we did, we basically aligned through a Gen AI committee globally. We're gonna go into a third round this year, actually in June, and each time we meet, we basically discuss what are the possibilities, how can we share. So we went from what are the contributions each region can bring to how can we collaborate to how can we now do things ourselves but share the learnings. Defining common tools are usually hard just because of the regions and the skill and the gaps that you probably have and the interest. So we're trying to align to the best of what is available. Also, we are redefining what an AI center of excellence would look like. With all the advent of these co-pilots, low-code tools, software becoming such an integral part of what AI can actually do, who should be our stakeholders? Is a question that we are uh, actively engaging in and also getting answers and creating that value. Also, cybersecurity and governance, well, they are standards, and like a lot of the conference sessions were, it's basic, like it's one-on-ones, but you're revisiting them because if it's bad, the scale and the speed at which this technology is evolving is highlighting those gaps. So we're getting global engagement, we're getting global CSIRTs into the mix. They are actually understanding that AI governance in itself would be a big stream of work. So we are getting the global alignments, the frameworks, local aspirations, and what local governments are doing. So it's growing, is all I would say, and it's evolving at a pace that everybody has to almost catch up on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the CISO because one of the biggest gaps to people adopting AI is the risk that's involved with it. And typically, you've had DevSecOps, so they haven't had much to do with, say, the traditional data center of excellence. What's it been like bringing in security into the conversation?
I think it has made my life pretty easy. He's my best friend in Australia. So um, it's very, very true because the things that we want to do are very similar, but just from a different lens. We want to give the right information, they want to protect the right information. We want to have absolute clarity on what is used, how it is being used, who's using it, so that we can get the right context into the decisions or into the information being provided. They're looking at the same thing, but just to make sure that it's all secured, it's compliance, it's regulated. So I think our goals are pretty much the same. So I sometimes offload a lot of the work that we do, or we share a lot of the workloads to ensure that we get the value. And it has expedited a lot in this space just because sometimes you need the convincing, sometimes you need the compliance to get the things done.
Hmm. And how are you going to measure the success of AI from the Center of Excellence? Have you thought about the type of metrics that you set up?
Speed is definitely one, but what we are also realizing is we don't want it to be like an R&D division,
Mhm.
right? So that is very, very clear. We want to say, okay, these are the ideas, these are the use cases which are flowing in. How do we quickly put some attributes to it, right? Now, data quality is one big attribute. Um, do we have the right quality of information? More so, the engagement with the business who's bringing an idea. Do they actually understand that this will be an iterative process? Do they have the time to actually engage with us and answer the questions? All of that is important to qualify a use case. Then return on investment automatically becomes a case. But we ideally, because of shortage of resources, right? It's there, it's given. Excitement is huge, use cases are huge, resources are less. We want to make sure that if we have invested a certain amount of time and we are not getting the value, we move on, because we can always come back to it. But the point is that we don't want to lose another opportunity because something is taking longer. So it's almost like a trade-off, but the transparency is the key. Communication is the key. Those factors would become the key.
Yeah, and how do you strike the balance as well between what's happening with the speed in which things are moving? There's a lot of AI now being built into software as a service applications. A lot of data leaders I'm talking to are thinking, do we build it? Do we wait and have a look if, say, there's agentic components that come out in different software? How do you strike that balance?
I'm not a proponent of waiting too much. So I'd like to go in and try. But productionizing something is different. So I'm not going to wait for somebody else to do the job for me. So I want the teams, and I think as a group we are pretty good at that. We want to try, we want to experiment, and that's why we are here. Whatever we have done so far as a value proposition has come with a certain speed. Uh, the challenge is to take it to production needs a different level, but also to understand what it takes to go to production is a learning in itself. So without trying, you're not going to get it. Secondly, if you wait for somebody else to do it for you, it's just gonna still have gaps. So the best thing is you've tried something, you understand that these are the gaps. You might not have the time to actually bridge those gaps. So then you see if your partners, if your software vendors are actually bridging that gap because now you identified them. Then you go to those vendors and say, okay, they already have bridged those gaps, or they can help you bridge the gap. So take it to them and productionize it. That's how we like to approach it. But without trying, without getting in, seriously, the value proposition is not going to be there.
I understand. What do you think has the biggest value proposition for your organization with AI?
AI is a very big suitcase
Yes,
term,
it
right?
is.
So I want to be very clear. In terms of, we look at AI from a low hanging fruit would come from agentic side, which will be a lot of automation, right? So moving away a little away from rule based and very much coding based automations to something which is more decision oriented automations. So definitely that will add a lot of value. With different protocols coming around, obviously you start playing. So some of the things that you can bring in a structured data to an unstructured data to some of the queries, and now you don't have to train it; you just have to kind of extract it. That's where I think the true value will come from the AI and automation piece. In terms of, I think Gen AI, low hanging fruit of personal productivity will come. Um, I, I've not I've not got to that point yet, but I think hyper personalization is where the Gen AI world should happen. Um, we have also not approached it like, the documentation. I think somebody this morning was saying we never go back and update the documentation, the metadata. How are those things that can actually help? Can we extract that? What are the top 10 metadata? Bring it from these different documents, bring it from these different tables. When was it last updated? This is where the low hanging fruit, where the speed at which you can innovate is going to change. But it's, again, like I said, there's so much to actually touch that you have to almost prioritize it by use case and say that this is what it is. And I definitely feel that the voice part of Gen AI, I think the knowledge, the workforce changing, the future of work, that knowledge can now be actually captured because of all the tools that are coming in. So I'm very passionate about that and making sure the continuity exists. And when a workforce moves and the next workforce comes, they have absolute continuity and least disruption.
It sounds like that your role has changed a lot over the past year from the sound of it.
My role has gone from technical, making sure that environments and things are all working, to almost thinking and flipping the switch to say, how can we create value for the business? What does the business need? What they also don't know, because we can bridge that gap. And I think one of the sessions this morning really hit the chord, which was basically saying we take the responsibility now to eliminate conflicts, bring the different KPIs together and say what is the context around it, right? So and that elevation has to happen. Who else would do it? Because everybody is doing their daily job the best way. Somebody has to take a lead.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I love about a center of excellence is about enabling it because different areas of the business have very different needs.
Yeah.
But centralized governance, ownership, but there's probably some complexity with resources in terms of the technologies that you work with because that typically wasn't in a center of excellence.
Right.
You navigated that.
Well, if you say, have you solved it? No, we are trying to navigate it. So one of the things that you want to do is comes from a lot of personal drive as well, because you're again dealing with people. But we have a dotted line structure into the business, which means that uh, the way we want to roll this is we are extension to the business, and business is extension into us. It's a two-way street. Break the barriers, a request service sort of a barrier to actually say, let's work together. There's a lot of different ways of doing it. Agile pods were one of it, and so on and so forth. But we want to manage it through the center of excellence, where the learning about the tools and what is going is made aware to all the businesses. And then let's see what they bring to the table. But we have to follow a certain standard.
Yes.
As an example, you want co-pilots, AI to create value. You can't create value on 200 different data models. What's your source of truth?
Yeah.
Like, what does AI answer from? So to enable that, how do you bring those people together who has created it in a certain context, right? So that's where the center of excellence or a central team working with the business on the edge makes the difference.